You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, he did. But I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead.
King Von's reputation as a serial killer was solidified until his demise. A pivotal incident underscored his danger: the unsealing of police documents that shed light on the 2014 murder of Gakira K.I. Barnes. K.I., just 17, was notorious in Chicago, allegedly tied to numerous deaths as part of the Gangster Disciples. She was fatally shot by a hooded assailant identified in the documents as rapper King Von. Witnesses implicated him as the gunman who approached K.I. and her friends, opened fire, then fled the scene. The unknown offender then produced a handgun and began firing in the direction of the victims, striking all three. The unknown offender then was observed entering an unknown vehicle, making good his escape. The police investigation into the murder of Gakira K.I. Barnes identified King Von as the shooter and positively identified him, but insufficient evidence prevented charges from being filed against him. On the day of K.I.'s murder, FBG Butta, her brother, recounted the events leading up to her death. They had been out earlier, seemingly without issue, until police started tailing them. The group ended up at a restaurant where K.I., undeterred by the police presence, confronted someone. Butta described her as fearless in that moment. Their friend Lee's FaceTime call inadvertently revealed their location to someone, prompting them to hide their weapons as the police approached. After the police left, gunfire erupted, targeting them soon after. Butta suspected the police of setting them up, noting the timing. During the shooting, K.I. was struck 9 times, while Butta sustained a leg injury that severely damaged his knee. He focused on fleeing and staying alive, unaware of K.I.'s injuries until she asked if he was hit. Despite her wounds, including a neck shot, she remained conscious and communicating. The neighborhood quickly responded to the scene, realizing the gravity of what had occurred. Due to his parole status, Butta hurriedly left, opting to seek medical help from his mother at home, though complications ensued. He nearly died from blood loss before his friend intervened to keep him conscious. In a subsequent interview, Butta discussed leaked DMs between King Von and K.I., suggesting both sides were plotting against each other, reflecting the intense personal vendetta between them.
He was trying to get her to come so they can kill her, and we were trying to get him to come so we can kill him.
According to Trap Lord Ross, King Von and K.I. had a serious personal beef. It wasn't just random street stuff. There was a deep personal connection that had them going back and forth. Butta was pretty straightforward about it, claiming how Von had this thing about getting people to drop locations or setting traps because he knew Butta and his crew were out to get him. Von was always chasing after something, usually involving girls, and they saw that as an opportunity. Butta mentioned how Von would talk about getting people's locations so he could make a move. He was always scheming and trying to be one step ahead. This whole cat and mouse game was intense, and this behavior where Von was constantly plotting was nothing short of scary for Butta. Butta also talked about how Von would tweet about people getting shot right after it happened. It was almost like he was taunting everyone and putting it out there. He was playing this dangerous game, and according to Ross, Von was tied to the deaths of several people, including K.I. Ross mentioned 7 people specifically: K.I., Doc, Dirty Raw, Modell, P5, Lil James, and Malcolm Stuckey. Butta knew most of them personally. He knew Doc, Dirty Raw, and Modell well. P5 was his really close friend. However, Butta also made it clear that he didn't think King Von was responsible for all those deaths, especially not P5's. Butta suggested talking to FBG Pressure for the real story, as Pressure was there for a lot of it. He mentioned that Pressure had already spoken about this on other platforms and wouldn't have a problem coming forward with the truth. Butta admitted that he wasn't always there, but from what he was told, Von wasn't responsible for everything that went down. At the end of the day, Butta reflected on how things used to be. He mentioned how people, including Von, were always out doing stupid stuff, caught up in this cycle of violence and retaliation. Eventually, Trap Lord Ross decided to make the documentary called King Von Rap's First Serial Killer. After considering a lot of history and context, and to understand his decision, we need to go back to when King Von was still alive. With a disarming patience, the 3-hour film goes back as early as 2012 to show Von to have been an eager and gleeful gang member, as well as a cold murderer, an abuser of women, and someone who tweeted out his crimes with an irreverence normally reserved for Phil Leotardo. In 2019, King Von's rise with crazy story was shadowed by controversy, particularly surrounding K.I.'s murder, where leaked DMs implicated him. Ross's videos on Von drew backlash, with Von issuing copyright strikes and his label threatening Ross over K.I.-related content. despite halting direct coverage due to threats. Ross delved deeper into Von's violent lyrics and alleged crimes, exploring his complex legacy and questioning why Von sought to silence critics if innocent. Interviews with FBG Butta added another layer, though his reliability was debated, especially regarding statements made during mental health challenges. Ross persisted in his investigation, driven by a quest for truth amid conflicting narratives and legal complexities surrounding Von's reputation.
I'm a psych patient. My lawyer told y'all don't talk to me.
Late night, high on the phone, trash talking like a game. Von flaunted cash, Butta bantered despite being broke. Complex relationship, enemies, yet camaraderie, unspoken understanding across sides. Butta once publicly denied Von's role in his sister's death to uphold street code. After Von's unrelated killing, Butta changed his stance, never naming him to police while alive. Butta noted discrepancies in descriptions of Von's appearance versus the shooter's, critical but overlooked details. Trench's News accused Butta of snitching, disputed drug deals, and Butta denied any payment from authorities, dismissing claims as false. Butta hinted at disappearing if coerced by police, evaded naming suspects in ongoing cases, pointing indirectly at Von. Their history, including a violent incident on a bus, shaped their feud. Butta shared childhood stories reflecting their tumultuous relationship. Ross struggled to uncover truths amid conflicting accounts, acknowledging biases and unreliable sources. The feud impacted Butta's relationship with Von's sister, Kayla B., affecting their bond. Von's alleged involvement in various violent incidents, including Duck's death, highlighted ongoing tensions and criminal affiliations. Von's behavior and rumored involvement in criminal activities underscored his complex legacy. Things escalated quickly and a shootout broke out. Von's death was a sad event. He was murdered after an altercation outside a hookah lounge at only 26 years old. He was thriving, personally and creatively. When FBG Butta heard about it, considering all the back and forth they had, it hit him hard. But Butta admitted he felt kind of happy about Von's death. As messed up as it sounded, he felt a sense of relief. This is because the constant tension and threats were gone. Butta explained that when you live in that world, constantly at odds with someone, it's almost a relief when that threat disappears. The day Von died, Butta and his crew celebrated. They cooked all day and hung out, enjoying the fact that their main rival was no longer a problem. Despite being enemies, Butta and Von had a weird sort of respect for each other.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Kevon was my favorite op. But you know, when I went to jail, right? He had to find somebody else to hate when he came home.
Late at night, high and on the phone, they talked trash like it was a game. Von flaunted cash while Butta, broke in the trenches, bantered with him over FaceTime. Their relationship was complex. Serious enemies, yet oddly camaraderie, with an unspoken understanding despite opposing sides. Butta remembered their last chat, Von teasing about money and kids, even offering cash. It was a mix of beef and brotherhood, joking and jabs. Despite their animosity, a strong connection remained. Butta believed if Von were alive, they'd still trade insults, keeping the rivalry alive. He admitted he'd push peace outwardly, but harbored deeper tensions. As they age, perspectives change. Butta mused that Von might have matured, apologized, moved past their feud if he lived. People change with families and life's evolution. Reflecting from jail, Butta initially doubted a peace treaty. Survival drove decisions behind bars, yet Von's death brought relief, tempered by his violent legacy.